Welcome class 7 students. So we will discuss the second chapter of your science, that is nutrition in animals. So let us talk about the heading of the chapter, that is nutrition in animals. So nutrition means the process of intake of food, and the use of the nutrients that are present in the food for energy, growth and development. So what is nutrition called? So nutrition, it is the process with which we intake our food, that is take our food into our body, and then we use the nutrients that are present in our food for our body requirements, that is for energy, for growth of the body and development. So this is the first term, that is nutrition. Then is nutrition in animals. So what is the type of nutrition that is present in case of animals? So we have discussed in chapter 1, that is plants, they can make their own food, but animals, unlike plants, they cannot prepare their own food. So these animals, they are dependent on plants, they depend on plants for their food. So how do animals, they depends on the plants? So animals, they depend on plants either in a direct way or in an indirect way. What does this mean? In case of direct way, the animals, they eat or consume plants directly. So directly they can eat or consume plants, or indirect way they can also use the plants as their source of food. How? They eat the other animals that eat plants. So in an indirect way, the animals, they eat animals that further eat plants. So basically all the animals, they are dependent on plants for their food. So this is the meaning of nutrition in animals, that is how the animals, they utilize the nutrients present in the food and what is their mode of taking these nutrients. So let us start up with the chapter. So now, animal nutrition, it includes three terms: nutrient requirement, mode of intake of food, and then its utilization in the body. So basically the term nutrition, it is a bit complex term. It includes animal nutrition. It further includes three processes basically. So first it is the requirement of nutrients. So first is nutrient requirement. So what are the different types of nutrients that are required by our body? So first is nutrient requirements such as carbohydrates. So such as carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals. These all are the nutrients that are required by our body. So minerals, and then is fiber. So these are the nutrients that we take from our food. So animal nutrition, first term it include was nutrient requirement. So here you will write all the components of our food that we had mentioned here. So these are the component of the foods that are nutrient required for the animal nutrition. So second, it is the mode of intake of food. So second is the mode of intake of food. So how do the animals, they intake or ingest the food? So mode of intake of food. So mode of intake of food, and then is the utilization of the nutrients in the food. So then is utilization or the use of food by our body. So we had discussed the nutrient requirements, that is these are the different types of nutrients that are required by our body and that we obtain from our food. So second is mode of intake of food. So the first mode of intake of food, it is scrapping. So it is there in case of snails. So how do snails obtain food? So they obtain the food by scrapping. So this is the process of scrapping. So what happens is an animal scraps or scratches over the food. So the food of the snail, it is leaf, and it is intaking it by the mode of scrapping. So it is taking the food by scrapping. So this is the first mode of taking of food, that is scrapping. So move on to the next second mode, it is chewing. So chewing, it is common in case of ants. So ants, how do they eat food? They eat by chewing the food. So this is the ants. This is the ants that are chewing their food. So this is the food of the ant. They are intaking the food by chewing. So this is the mode of intake of food in ants, that is chewing. So then the third mode of taking the food, it is by capturing and swallowing. So this is in case of eagle. So if we watch this video, so what happens in case of eagles? So this is how they captures the food. So here it captures the food. So here the small fishes, it is the food of eagle. It has captured the food and then it will swallow the fish. That will be the mode of intake of food, that is capturing and then swallowing. So this is the third mode of intake of food, that is capturing and swallowing. So let us move on to the fourth mode of taking of food, that is by sucking. So the fourth mode of intake of food, it is by sucking. It is there in case of hummingbird. So hummingbird, it feeds on the nectar of flowers. So what is nectar? It is basically a sweet sugary substance. It is a sweet sugary substance that is produced at the base of the petal. So it is produced somewhat here in between the petals. So this hummingbird, it sucks the nectar from the petals of the flower. So we will just watch this also. So this is how a hummingbird is coming, and with the help of its long beak, it is sucking the nectar from the flower. So this is the mode of intake of food in case of hummingbirds, that it is sucking the nectar of the flower. So this is the mode of intake of food in case of hummingbird. So let us move on to the next mode of intake of food, which is sucking also, which is again sucking, that is in case of lice. So fifth mode of intake of food, it is sucking in case of lice. So what does the lice suck? The blood from our head. So it is like this. So we will watch the mode of action of sucking in case of lice. So lice, it is here, it is sucking the blood. So you can easily see that the sucking of blood by the lice, right? So this is the mode of taking of food in case of lice, that is sucking. And what is the food in case of lice? It is the blood, right? So let us move on to the next mode, that is again sucking in case of mosquito. Mosquito, it also sucks our blood. So this is how the mosquito, it sucks our blood. So this is our blood that is being sucked by the mosquito. So this is how the mosquito, it sucks our blood. So this is the mode of feeding of mosquito, that is by sucking. So then is the mode of feeding, that is siphoning and sponging. So siphoning is there in case of butterfly and sponging is there in case of housefly. So the basic mode of ingestion of food is similar in both butterfly and housefly. So this is a special structure in case of butterfly, which is known as siphon, with the help of which it sucks its food. So the food of the butterfly, it is nectar of flowers. It is the nectar of flowers. So the butterfly, it sucks the nectar by the help of this siphon. So this is how it sucks the nectar from the flowers. So then is houseflies. So houseflies, they eat almost everything by sponging. So sponging, it is also similar to the siphoning basically, that is with the help of suction. So by sucking the food, that is also known as sponging, the housefly, it takes its food. So this was about the different modes of taking the. So now we have discussed about different modes of ingestion or different modes of feeding. So now if we talk about the nutrition in detail, the process of nutrition in detail. So nutrition, it is basically a complex process. Nutrition, it is a complex process that further involves 5 different steps. So nutrition, it involves 5 different steps. So the 5 different steps in the process of nutrition, these are, so the first, it is ingestion. So ingestion, what is ingestion called? It is the process by which we take the food into our body. So the process of taking the food into the body, it is called as ingestion. So this is the first step in case of nutrition, which is the taking of food into our body. So the second step in case of nutrition, it is digestion. So what is digestion? It is the process of breakdown of the complex substances that are present in our food into the simpler substances. So what happens is, the food we take, it has nutrients in a very complex form that cannot be used by our body. For example, this is the nutrient we take. So it exists in such a complicated or complex form. So what happens under the process of digestion? So when we call the term digestion, so during digestion, what happens is the breakdown of these complex substances takes place. So during digestion, these complex substances, they breaks into simpler substances. So these simpler substances can be easily used by our body. So these can be easily used by the body, whereas the complex molecules, they cannot be used by our body. So this is the process digestion, where the complex substances, they are broken down into simpler substances. So the second step of nutrition is digestion. And then if we talk about third step in nutrition, it is absorption. So what will happen after the digestion? So this digested food, now which is in the simpler form, this digested food, it is then passed into our blood. So how do we pass the food into our blood? It is through the blood vessels that are present in the small intestine. So then after digestion, the digested food, small particles or the simpler substances of food, they gets passed into the blood through the blood vessels of the small intestine. So this digested food, it is then passed into the blood vessels in small intestine. This process in which the digested food is passed into the blood vessels of small intestine, it is called as absorption. So food is now being absorbed by the body. So third step is absorption. What is happening in this step is, the digested food, the simpler food, it is being passed into the blood vessels of our small intestine. So this is the third step in the nutrition, that is the digested food, it is passed into the blood vessels of small intestine. So now if we come to the fourth step of nutrition, so it is the assimilation. Assimilation, what is assimilation? It is the process by which, now firstly we had discussed about this digested food, and now we will talk about the absorbed food that is being passed into the blood vessels. So it is the process by which absorbed food, it is used by our body for growth and repair. So why do we need the food? We need it for the growth of our body, for the repairing of our tissue, and for the functioning of our body. So the process by which we use the absorbed food, it is called as assimilation. So assimilation, it is the process by which the absorbed food is used by the body for growth and repair. So now we have used the nutrients that were present in our food. So we have used that nutrients for growth and repair of our body. So then there is waste material that left out from the food. So this would be there in fifth step, that is egestion. So what happens in the process of egestion is, the waste materials removed from the body. So the waste material that are released after absorption and assimilation, they are removed from the body. So it is the process by which waste material is removed from the body. So these are 5 different steps in nutrition. Ingestion, where the food is taken into the body. Digestion, where the food is being broken down into simpler substances. Absorption, where the food is passed into the blood vessels of small intestine. And then assimilation, where the absorbed food is used by the body for growth and repair. And finally there is egestion, जो भी waste material होगा body का, that will be removed out from the body. So egestion would be the removal of waste material from the body. So the second part of this chapter is digestion in human beings. So we will talk about digestion in humans. So digestion in humans. So the digestive system of humans, it is being divided into two parts. So first is alimentary canal. So first is alimentary canal, and the second is digestive glands. So second is digestive glands, or the glands that are associated with our alimentary canal. So now if we talk about alimentary canal, so what is an alimentary canal? This is our alimentary canal. It starts from our mouth and it ends up into the anus, through which the undigested or waste material is removed out of the body. So if we talk about our alimentary canal in detail, so this is our alimentary canal. So our alimentary canal, it is composed of mouth and buccal cavity. So the first part of alimentary canal, it is mouth and buccal cavity. Followed by mouth, it is a long tube-like structure which is known as esophagus. It is known as esophagus, which is the long tube-like structure. So then the next part of our alimentary canal, which is the stomach. So next part of alimentary canal, it is stomach. Stomach, it then passes into the small intestine. So this is long coiled structure, it is our small intestine. So followed by small intestine, here starts our large intestine. So this complete structure, this is our large intestine. So this is the large intestine. Followed by large intestine, this is the rectum, which is also a part of large intestine only. So then is the rectum, and then is the opening of the body through which the waste material, it is removed out of the body, which is known as anus. So this is our alimentary canal. So our alimentary canal, it is composed of first mouth and buccal cavity, mouth and buccal cavity. So then it is esophagus. So the second part of alimentary canal, it is esophagus. So the second part of alimentary canal is esophagus, and third part is stomach. The third part of alimentary canal is stomach. Followed by stomach, there is a small intestine. So followed by stomach, the small intestine is present, and followed by small intestine, large intestine is present. So large intestine, the rectum, which is a part of large intestine only. So then followed by large intestine, the small opening through which the waste is passed out of the body, it is anus. So followed by large intestine, it is the anus. So these are the components of our alimentary canal: mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and anus. So now we will talk about different glands that are associated with our alimentary canal.